This series has just gone amazingly well. We're into the Italian Cup final. We're going to play it in 2 games' time. We're in a race for the top four. We're probably going to finish second if things go well. Nothing could go wrong. I'll tell you what could go wrong. I'll tell you what could throw this off. Imagine for a second that the game gave us an injury to like a key player. Just imagine that, right? That would be annoying if that happened. What would be even worse is if it gave us a second injury to another key player in the same exact position, right? So we've got nobody else to play there. That's the only thing that could possibly cost us the cup final against Inter. You have got to be shitting me. Yes, hello and welcome back, everybody. So one thing to note, I did actually start off this episode by doing a lot of analysis on De Zerbi, some quite in-depth stuff across basically everything we've covered so far, just sort of wrapping it up into one video and going through all the stuff, and then maybe going a bit further, explaining why teams do certain things, not just Brighton, but any team really, and explaining more the why than just the what. I feel like that sometimes when you see analysis pieces from places like Twitter or on YouTube and that kind of stuff, right, that they'll explain what happened, but they won't explain why. I think that sometimes with a coaching background, it can really help you understand better why, and you can better explain it to the people that are watching or reading. So that's what I tried to do. Unfortunately, for reasons that I can't really explain, I couldn't do the video the way that I wanted it to, and I couldn't release it the way that it was. So I had to take it down. Some of you might have seen it briefly when it came up, but it was basically, I was planning originally to do the start of this episode was going to be a bit of analysis, and the second half of it was going to be the cup final, the end of season review, all that kind of stuff. The problem was the analysis came to about 50 minutes just on its own. So I was like, okay, we can't really have a 2-hour episode on this, I don't think. So I'll separate the two out, and unfortunately I had to tweak how I've done it. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that episode just yet. I don't know whether to leave it gone and recap some of the stuff. Now, I'm going to recap some of the stuff right now, actually, anyway. But I don't know whether to leave it down or to try and maybe take sections of it and add it in each episode. So maybe the first 5, I covered 5 matches. So I don't know whether to do like the first 5 episodes of the next season to like do De Zerbi analysis part 1 as a chapter in each video. So for the next 5 videos, you'd get some De Zerbi analysis, but I'm not too sure. But anyway, that is what happened. So you're up to date with what the plan was for this video. So yeah, what I'll do first, I'm just going to quickly recap some of the stuff that we've covered in terms of the analysis, because the main point of that video is I wanted to recap it all, because I feel like we've covered most things when it comes to the build-up with Zerbi, and I sort of wanted to recap it all into one final chapter. So we're sort of closing the book, rather, even than the chapter. We're sort of closing the book on doing our analysis on De Zerbi's Brighton in their build-up. So let's go through a couple of things right now that we spoke about in that video that some of you may not have seen. Okay, so I'm going to briefly explain some of the stuff that was in the video, and I'll have some stuff popping up on the screen as I'm speaking to cover specific stuff. So the first thing that I looked to cover was about, not just about Brighton actually, it's more generally about teams and how teams create what we call a +1 in build-up. And what this is referring to is a lot of coaches like to have one extra outfield player in the build-up against the pressing team. So we just went through a bunch of different matches that Brighton had. I picked 5 different ones where sometimes they were pressed with 1, sometimes 2, then a third player always going in with the pivot if the pivot dropped. So if we're building something like this with with 2 centre backs and 2 wing backs that are going high and wide in the build up, if they then press us with 2, we need to get a third player. There's one of 2 ways we can get that third player right. It could be the fullback drops in a very much Kyle Walker, Ben White kind of situation. Like that becomes your 3, or alternatively, you can have the pivot player drop between the centre backs and split them, which is what we see Brighton do. And the whole point of the analysis was to show that, a bit like what I said at the start of the series, that we're not wanting the player to go between the pivots all the time. It's not like it's a direct instruction from us. It's not like we're asking them to do it as a default. It's more like it's when it's required, and it's like a necessity. Like if we're being pressed by 2, we need that third player to get us out. There might be some matches where the fullbacks are being asked to stay high and wide in the build-up for a completely different reason. It could be a tactical thing. It could be an opposition weakness. It could be multiple different things, right? It could just be that situation. But if that is the scenario and the fullbacks are high and wide, it's very likely the pivot player is going to have to drop and get between the centre-backs to help get the team out, at least in some situations, right? But I then go on to show, I think if I'm doing it correctly enough, I'm editing the video correctly now, you'll see now another picture of when of when there's only one player pressing, the pivot player doesn't need to do that, and it's about trying to keep the pivot players in the middle so that we can build the attack through the center and not just wide or being direct. So it's about trying to dominate the game and being able to play through them centrally and play through them wide. You don't want to lose those numbers in the middle if you can avoid it, so you can still play through the center as well. So ideally what we want is if they press with one, we can just keep the two, but if they do press with two players, we can create our third player either through the pivot dropping between the center backs or a fullback making a three. And obviously, we can't give contextual information to the player, so I can't say to handle here, handle. Look, if we're building in our attack and Naumann is very deep and it's almost like a three and they press for two, you can stay where you are because Naumann's going to create the three for us. And then Borges, if Naumann stays where he is, you might need to make a late movement deep to try and get on the ball and help get us out on that right side because there's not going to be as much width now with Naumann being so deep. You can give that contextual information to players, right, in real life. You can say that to the players. But in FM, we can't really do that. It's sort of like they're going to do the similar thing most of the time, right? So like I mentioned at the start of the series, that we had to get that behavior in some form. We had to get the pivot dropping between the centre backs because it happens so often in real life. But it's not like we wanted the players to always do that. We didn't want a halfback. We didn't want somebody going there, staying there, or even doing it too often. They just needed the ability to be able to do it when it was required. That was the crucial thing, right? That was the crucial part of it. Not that we wanted them to do it all the time. And then sort of touching on the contextual stuff, that's why I think that I sort of mentioned that in the video that today, I feel like in FM24, maybe this was applicable to FMs before this, but I sort of feel like the days of having a recreation that's like, here's a standard here's a set tactic, here is one tactic, here's a recreation in quotes, download it, try it for yourself. I think those days are a little bit gone if you want to play it realistically, of course, because you can see even from a couple of the games I'm going to show you now in these pictures that there's a couple of games where if I was to ask two different people, to make a Brighton recreation I'm watching one game to do it. Somebody watched the game against Liverpool and somebody watched the game against Sheffield United. They would give me totally different roles and duties, and the tactic would play completely differently. For example, against Sheffield United, the left back was definitely what we would call an inverted fullback defend in the game. They were making up a three in the build-up and helping the team get out from that situation, right? It was definitely an inverted fullback defend, making up a three against the 5-4-1 of Sheffield United. But in other games, he definitely wasn't that. So that's where I think in this series, we've done a really good job of like having our base tactic, our philosophy, and our pretty much default game model is set. And then we can tweak it from there. We've mainly doing it out of possession, but you could obviously do it in possession too. And yeah, again, I think with the recreation these days, not being afraid to change some of the roles and duties, because, if you did have your left back as an inverted fullback defender in a De Zerbi recreation, you might get some comments from somebody going, oh, that's not what they are, that's not what they are here, and, that's not what the purpose is. But that is what the player was in one game. So maybe you're playing the inverted fullback with your De Zerbi recreation because you're playing against a 5-4-1 or a 3-4-3, whichever it is. And in that moment, in that game, to build with the three against the players that are pressing, that might work for you in that moment. And that's absolutely fine. That is how real football works, You will change the requirements, roles, and responsibilities of your players to fit either the opposition or the players that you've got on the pitch. Through either a tactical plan, through a necessity. It could be multiple different things. But the point I'm making is that just plugging one tactic in and just hammering it over and over again is absolutely fine as a way to play FM. But like what I'm saying is, for a true recreation, don't be afraid to tweak. Don't be afraid to tweak the recreation from game to game. And I feel like you can get so much more out of FM when you start to do that. So if you're in a save, and the main point I was making with this in the video was, if you're in a save where you're the best team in the league, you're going to win the Champions League probably every year, not too sure, but it's going to be close. Doing something like this, like we've been doing out of possession, and then doing these little tweaks in possession, you can get so much more out of FM. And with the positional play feature, I think that's really, really helped that sort of... You can get a lot more out of FM and keep things entertaining for you, I think, a lot longer now because of this. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, just a little point on that. And don't be afraid to tweak things. One of the other things we touch on is how you want the pivots to play during the build-up. So, we talked already about them dropping when needed, but not always doing it. The second thing is then this player here. There's a really good clip, I think it's against Newcastle. I should have this queued up for you, I hope, where the pivot player, you can see, starts off building with his partner in a two, and then the idea is that he's trying to get as quickly as possible into that half space area. And you can see that if you can get the team out and you can progress that attack quickly, he's already in a really dangerous position now, and he has to be able to get there early for it to be that effective. And for him to get there early, he needs to not be really deep building all the time. And then if he's not going to be really deep building all the time, that means that either they need to be pressing with one, and if they're pressing with two, somebody else would need to be helping us build centrally, right? So it could be an inverted wingback type situation, could be multiple things that you do. But in this one, he gets free into the half space. So I can't remember who it is now. It might be Gross. I'm not too sure. And they create like a 2v1 or a 3v2 on the far side of the pitch instantly. And it's really, really good. A couple of final notes then. One was, why does sometimes a recreation look so different in the match engine than it does in real life? And for example, because we were playing as Venezia in the Serie B and we're recreating Brighton from the Premier League, Brighton get pressed quite a bit in real life because they play in the Premier League, right? So they're going to get pressed quite a bit. It's just natural. So a lot of the playing out situations look a lot different when they were playing compared to when we were playing. Because we were playing sometimes, they were playing a one-striker system with 5 defenders, and nobody was pressing us. So our centre-backs had loads of time and space. It didn't quite look the same because the picture was totally different. I was asking the players to play a very similar way, but the picture was being given to us was completely different. And then if you look at a couple of clips, I think one was against Liverpool, maybe? Was it against Sheffield United? I think it was against Sheffield United, actually, where they're playing against the 5 at the back, and the centre-back has got it, and Billy Gilmore's telling him, just drive with it. Just come with the ball, drive with it, and let's start committing players. And that looked a lot more like what we were seeing in our first season, but it took them to play against 5 at the back for it to look exactly the same. But this year's not been as bad because we are seen as an underdog, so teams are trying to go after us a bit more. But yeah, another interesting thing to look at sometimes, how you may not be seeing the same exact patterns in your recreations, and it doesn't necessarily mean you need to change anything. You just need to be aware of the context, right? Okay, the team I'm recreating is, let's say we're trying to recreate Manchester City, for example, and you've done it with the team that's in the Championship, and you've just been promoted to the Premier League, and you've just finalised your tactic, but you're in the Premier League now, and you feel like, well, we're not looking like Manchester City very often. It might be you're getting pressed completely differently to how City get pressed. You're not able to dominate the ball as often as City do. There's lots of other things you need to be aware of, I guess, when you're doing something like that with a team that's completely different in their situation to how your team is, right? There's that always to be aware of. I'm not saying it can never happen. I'm just saying be aware. That's all I'm saying. And finally, just to recap what else was in that video, there was the 5 matches they played fairly recently. We went through all of those, whether the team's pressed with 2 or with 1. Talked about how Brighton created their +1 differently. Sometimes it was the fullback, sometimes it was the pivot player, and then how they transitioned their attack, etc., etc. And again, I really enjoyed it. It was a great video. And again, not quite sure how to deal with the video. My preference would be to try and break it up and throw it into the next few videos, but I don't know if it's going to fit very well because they were supposed to be linked together. Yeah, not sure about it. But I covered most of the points that I think I wanted to get across if we were to recap it. Like, if I don't include any of it from now on, hopefully you got the most gist of it about what's important for the pivots, trying to keep them centrally in the build-up. If they need to split the centre-backs, that's absolutely fine. If it's needed, you could also do it there via the full-back. And your other pivot player, the more aggressive one, you want to try and get as advanced as quickly as possible, and that could look differently in different games, right? So, yeah, just that was the first bit. Second bit was basically potentially even having 2 tactics for the recreation, having a tactic where you're using your pivot to primarily build up, splitting the centre backs if he's needed, and then maybe one where you use the fullback to be primarily your third player when building up. And it could be just against different formations, right? And again, the reason that I was mentioning that was just you can't give all the contextual information to players and the triggers. So like we mentioned, that it could be that, okay, Naumann, sometimes you're going to be dropping in and creating the 3 temporarily with the 2 centre-backs. And if he does, Borges, you might need to drop to help us get out. There could be trigger effects to every single thing that you ask the players to do. And it's really, really important. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Without going into detail of all the video again, I'll probably leave it there. But if you are interested in that, do let me know. I can try and figure out a way to make it work. It was a bit disappointing for me. I thought it was a great video. Thought I did a great job of getting the analysis in, and it was unfortunate I couldn't have it in here, but we got the basic points out anyway, and you saw some of the screenshots, some of the stuff that we did, but not the full detail. But there we are. And welcome back, everybody. So we are going to be getting into today's episode. We are going to be focusing on 4 matches, 3 in the league, 1 in the cup. Cup final is going to come second, actually. It's going to be the second game in today's episode. And obviously, like I mentioned, we got our 2 strikers out, which isn't great. Not great at all. They're both out for the season as well. They are out for the season. So could that cost us the Champions League as well? I mean, I knew it was going to cost us the cup final. I didn't really consider the fact it might cost us the top 4 as well. That's going to be devastating. I'm going to be a bit annoyed about this if this costs us. And it looks like it's bloody going to as well. So we'll see. The youngster that we've got that came through the academy, Giuseppe Mengoli, he looks okay, doesn't he? He probably could do a job, I reckon. So we're going to give him a go when he's fit to play, which isn't going to be this game, but he could be back then for the cup final. In fact, let's get him on a bit of that. Bit of rest for 2 days for him, see if we can get him back for the final. That might help us out a little bit if he can do a job. I'm really not sure what to do because whoever else has played up front has not really done the business. I feel like Hassan's going to be the best option to go up front, and then maybe Perini goes left. We could maybe do that. The only problem with doing that is it really gives you nothing off the bench going forwards, does it? I mean, Hoyland, can he do his brother? Is it brother or cousin? Brother or cousin? Brother. Can Oscar do his brother's job? He's got 9 finishing. That's probably no. I like to have something off the bench to help. I mean, to be fair, it's not this game I care about as much. It's more the Inter game that I'm really wanting somebody for. So we could any of these lads go up front? Can Muslija do it? Muslija could do a 10 finishing. Oh, it's not great though, is it? Could Facundo do it? Facundo could do it. I like Facundo in the 10 position though. I think we're going to keep it the way that it is. I think Hassan's just going to do a job up front. Sorry, Hassan, you're going to have to do it, son. You're going to have to just get us out of this. I have to hope there's not too many problems. We basically have to go ahead in the game and stay ahead. If we can do that, we're fine. Once we go behind, because of the subs that we've got, they're more defensive or like for likes. I don't think we've got much to really change the game. You've got one winger and a really young striker forwards. Yeah, it's not great, is it? But I mean, we could go to the strikerless version, right? To be fair, we're going to play strikerless, aren't we? Now I think about this, because yeah, they play 3. Okay, so Inter play that formation, which means we can go strikerless against them. I think that's probably the safest thing to do. So to be fair, Hassan going as a striker isn't a problem, is it really? I guess it works out in a way. Yeah, Mengoli could just be on the bench. Maybe he comes off the bench. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah. Anyway, state of play is this. We are currently second. We're not going to get first. We know that. That's fine. They've actually already won the league, AC Milan, incidentally. We are currently 4 points of our friends Fiorentina in the top 4. We should easily finish in a European place. It's just going to be a case of, is it going to be the Champions League? That's what we're going to play for. I'm not looking at anything else. We're trying to get into the Champions League, mainly for the money. And it's like a delay effect, isn't it? Like, we'll get into the Champions League this year if we do. Then our budget won't be incredible this year because it won't factor in the money as much. But then the year after, it will go really, really high. So it's really important we get in the Champions League this year. Even if we finish in the Europa League next year, getting it this year will be really good financially for the club. So, financially, we're actually doing really good still. We're going to be in the profits pretty soon, which is good to see. The transfer budget is not looking great. 452 grand going into... Well, that's this season. Next season, it goes up to 1.55 million, actually. Let me get out of the way so you can see it. There you go. 1.55 million is going to be going up to... So we'll see. We'll see how all things go. Right then, here we go. First game against Roma. They are going to play is it 4-2-3-1? 4-4-2 they're playing. Guess, is Mourinho gone? Mourinho has gone. Flat 4-4-2. I don't like playing against this because I feel like that whenever we have a formation that looks like it's going to match up, it doesn't do that well, but we'll see. Ernst is going to be in goal. Puskas, Papetti, Clemens, and Nauman across the back. Handel, Muslija pivots. Facundo 10. Perini left. Borges right. Hassan as the striker. Do we go strikerless even in this game because it fits? I wonder. Media comments. So rather than matching up against them, we're sort of using our... We're using the strength of our players instead, focusing on that a little more. I'm not sure if that's where we should be going here. I guess it's like a mid-block grid. You're sort of giving their 2 centre-backs the ball. The 10s should drop onto the CMs, if you want to call it that. And everybody else is picked up. It's a 2v2 at the back, but with 2 in front that are completely spare if these 2 are taking care of the centre-backs, right? So we'll do a bit of this. So we've got a bit of that on the go. So we're not going to press the centre-backs at all. They can have that. We'll go man for man everywhere else. Let's see how that goes then. Come on, boys. Let's go. Venezia, football and water, away to Roma in the beautiful city of Rome. Another Assassin's Creed reference in here as well, being in Rome. Here we go. Just double checking they were going to play a 4-4-2, and they are with Tammy Abraham up front, incidentally. Oh yeah, one thing that I didn't mention in the video recap stuff I did a second ago about the analysis was that I said that going into next season, what we're going to start to do is rather than just matching up us to the opposition formation, we'll also look for the first few minutes of the game how they're going to press us, the AI teams, and then focus our player roles in the build-up based on that. So if they keep pressing essentially with 2 players, and we are really struggling getting it to our pivots, playing through the centre, we might then change our fullback support to an inverted fullback defence so we can go round the 2 players pressing and then trying to go into the middle there. Alternatively, maybe we do throw a half-back in there to help get us out. We can start being creative with our in-possession role choices as well. Something that I just said that we would go to. Again, it keeps the game so fresh because we've got to match up our formation to them out of possession and then also tweak our building shape in possession. So it makes it really, really fun. I'm not sure how quickly we'll go and start doing that, but that's something that's definitely going to come into the series. it'll either be next season or maybe later on. I'm not too sure, but it's going to come at some point in this series. That's like the final bit to the jigsaw will be, we have our base formation, we have our philosophy, we've got recreation done, but we're going to match them up out of possession 1, and 2, we're going to tweak our roles and duties to get us being able to play out against their press, whoever it may be, whatever shape they may be pressing us in. So let's get them 4-4-2. Let's watch this early on. I might do it in this game. I don't know if I'm going to do it in the cup final or not, because I feel like we should end the season doing what we've been doing all season, really, before we start messing around with that. So yeah, just freezing it here from a shape perspective. So we have got, that's the referee, by the way. Don't get convinced by him screening anywhere. Muslija's here, who's just, I think, stepped onto somebody, and they've passed it across. Like, he's going to get himself back into here, which is fine. We've got Asan here picking up the pivot player, which is exactly what we want to see. Basically, like a mid-block. He's going to then try and drop onto the pivot players, which is great. And you've got Facundo back here, tracking back, doing stuff as well. It's good to see. So just there, they passed it back to the centre-back because they couldn't go to the pivot because Asan was on the pivot player. So I think Facundo's just forced the ball back. So what we should see here is Facundo slowly going to this player, then Asan should be going across. So Asan's going to force it across. Like you see, we don't really want to see that. But now, okay, that's fine. Now we've got pivot on 10. We've got our strike. Just let's say forward, because it's not really a 10 or a strike. We'll call them forward. We've got a forward on pivot here. We've got a forward on pivot here. Let's see how it plays out from here. Now we've got them locked into a shape that if they go backwards, we should be okay. We're going to force them forwards here. It's going to be a corner. Corner for Roma. Whipped in. Headed away. Second phase is going to come in now. They've got players on the edge. Goes away through to one of them. Takes a touch. Gets a shot away. It's blocked. Facundo runs away with it. It's going to be a counter-attack for Venezia, maybe. Keeps going. Keeps going. Plays on the line to Perini. Potentially. Facundo. Handle. He's got a player in the middle. Muslija. Muslija on the attack. Oh, he loses it. No. Oh, we were away there as well. Roma gets it. Dybala gets it. Oh, far side. Spinazzola goes in. Oh no, it's just chaos. This game's just chaos. I love how we're taking De Zerbi's philosophy, applying it in the Serie A, and we're just creating like chaotic game. Oh, it goes just over the bar. These teams don't want these games to go this way, but we're sort of forcing it by the way that we're playing. It's so much fun. Okay, we're going to knock it down to more often, just one notch down. Because, I mean, the opposition instruction tells the players to not press the centre-backs. I want them to engage everybody else aggressively, but not the centre-backs. That's what we want to see, right? So Facundo gets this, plays into Asan, who's got a play on the right-hand side if he can get it to him. Maybe should we change the two number 10s? Puskas gets it. Get a shot away, though. Facundo shoots. Oh, and it's a goal. It's 1-0 to Venezia. I'm not going to change him now. Facundo scores, makes it 1-0. What a goal this is. And I don't just mean the finish right in the pass. I mean, like, the out of possession stuff right before it as well. It was pretty good. Asan goes wide, plays it into Perini. The reason I said about switching is I felt like Asan could have played the right-hand side player in. If he was left-footed, it would have been a nice angle for him. But Facundo shoots. Facundo scores. That is 1-0. Okay, Roma forced back to their goalkeeper. We're not going to engage the goalkeeper, are we, lads? Oh, we nearly did. I said, let the centre-back have it. You can have it. That's where we should be tight on the pivots. I mean, I could move my pivots up to CM so that stops happening, but I don't know what else we're going to lose from it. But from a playing out perspective, that would make sense. See, this feels risky. We're 1-0 up in this game, right? But you can see how they're still getting out to their pivots. So we're going to do that because it makes the most sense right now. I mean, you could also then change... Oh, that was near a goal. We could also change then the fullback to a fullback, inverted fullback defend, because that would help us get out slightly better because the CM is going to be slightly higher now as a default, right? So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they play out from the back and see if we need to get our third man from the fullback position rather than at pivots. Probably should do that, you know. What we could do here, do we go a bit of this? Oh, what do you reckon? Double support. So DMs, don't come and split the centre-backs, please, lads. You stay where you are because it's 2 versus 2 in the middle. You can stay where you are. Occupy their 2 midfielders. Naumann can come and get the ball off the side of the 2-man press. If the winger goes with him, that should open up an easy pass into Borges. So what we want to hear maybe from Clemens is maybe he does dribble more. Maybe he has the space to just, you know, if he draws the winger onto him, Naumann, Clemens can start driving with the ball, ignore Naumann and play it straight into Borges' feet and we're out. So I think with Clemens, we're going to go with a bit of dribble more instead. See how that goes. Handle the free kick. Whips it in. Papetti goes up ahead towards goal. And it's going to be 2. Now, they've got some XG for them, have Roma. They've got some chances to create some XG, but that is a second goal for us. But they are creating chances, so it's not perfect, but it's 2-0. Okay, it's 2-0 half time, but they've actually had quite a few chances, right? And I feel like that what we should do is move the wingers back too, so they can start deeper on the wingers already. So it could be this. I don't know if I like this, but we're going to try it. So Roma throw it in. We head it away. Verretta's going to go on the counter-attack. This could be a chance for us here. He's got players running with him. This has got to be a highlight chance for us, surely. We're going through. We're going... Oh, we didn't get there. No, Varela. It was so close. We had them as well. Don't engage the goalkeeper. Don't engage the goalkeeper. I'm going to sub you off. Right, you're getting subbed off. Who was it? Hassan, you're off. You got one job, mate. Sorry, but, you know... should we put Højlund up front? I'm not sure, actually. I think I will put Facundo on the right this time and Sensi on the left. We'll try that. Oh, Tammy's gone through. Tammy's gone through. Scored 2-1. I feel like Roma are going to come back in this game. I feel like tactically we're doing a good job, numbers-wise, when we're getting the players. But the game is... But Roma are actually creating good chances against us still. Like, Dybala gets in here. Oh, he's lost it. For the first time, we've actually turned it over. Oh, we've turned... Oh, it's just calamitous. Sensi gets it. We create chaos with this tactic. Oh, Sensi's offside. It's not going to count. Plays into Højlund, into Sensi. Sensi backing. Oh, look at this. Football's lovely. Borges into Handel. Handel into Borges. Plays it back to Handel. Look at the domination of possession. Sensi goes. Who's onside this time? Is he going to score? He doesn't score. It was close, though. Højlund gets it. They go long. We win it off of the knockdown. Clemens back to the goalkeeper. That's good. Left centre-back wants this all day. Or the right centre-back, I guess. Because it's now building as a 3. Send video clip to Nick Madden. Right, what's your money on? My money is on a big 3-2 win for Roma after that goal. We all know what's happening. We've all been there. We know it's coming. Højlund into Borges. Come on, lads. Turn the tables. Come on. Facundo is never going to... He's through. He's got a score. He hasn't scored, though, has he? He hasn't scored, so, yeah. Okay, last 5 minutes. Highlight. Who's it going to be for? I think the team... okay, not from Venice, but it could be. Borges gets it. Plays the Sensi. Sensi, please. Facundo, please. Anybody. Puszczas. Puszczas goes through, surely. Puszczas shoots. Oh, he's hit the side net, and we're definitely going to lose 3-2. We're definitely... Oh, here it comes. We've done so well in this game. Tactically, we've been good. The players have played pretty well. We've not been clinical, of course, but, you know, there's only so much we can do on the sidelines, right? We can only... Oh, there it comes. Here it comes. 3-2. Right, all out attack. Finishes 3-2. So, there you are. Finishes 3-2. I'm going to say I'm proud because I think it's the best thing to say to the team in the game. In real life, I don't know if I'd be as happy with some of the players. To be fair, I feel like the team played well, but there's certain individuals did not play well, and I'm not going to name them, but yeah. Really hard to take that is because of the way that the second goal went in particular, and I mean... It's frustrating because we also created, I would have said, I mean, the XG doesn't reflect this, but I would have said, I thought we created 3 clear-cut chances in that game. It says 2. I feel like we created 3 that we should have scored. We didn't score any of them. The 2 goals that we did score were set pieces. So it's hard to take. I feel like we played pretty well again against a team that played a flat 4-4-2, but we seem to struggle against that quite a bit. So we might need a different approach going forwards against that, but that is going to do that. I will see you in 3 days for the Italian Cup final against Inter. This is a huge game in the series, huge moment. Come on, Venezia. And welcome back, everybody. So, here we go then. Italian Cup final against Inter. I am looking forward to this. First, apologies for the changing of the lighting for this video. It's a bit later on the same day than it was earlier on. Had a few things I had to do. Yeah, there's a bit of a gap between the recordings. Hopefully, it wasn't too noticeable. So, Thomas Handel is suspended. That's not great. So, we're going to take him off, I think, here. Thomas Handel's going to have to come out here, isn't he? He's going to come out, and Oscar Højlund goes in, I think. I think that's where we go. Is that the way that we go? Is that the best we can do here? I think it is, you know. I think that's the best we're going to do. Obviously, we know we're going to go to a strikerless version of the tactic immediately with Hassan and Facundo dropping onto the pivots, with the wingers going onto the back 3. Because we know Inter are going to play their back 3 against us. And did we beat Inter? We did, didn't we? Beat them 2-1 away. How did the actual game go in terms of stats, though? Did we do a good job? We did a very good job according to the stats and the XG. Clear-cut chances was quite even. I mean, that game could have gone either way, I guess. If you looked at it purely from a stats perspective, the XG was high in our favour, but the actual proper chances created, the reason our XG was so high was accumulation of shots rather than good chances created, based on the stats, of course, that is. The difference between possession and ball share is quite interesting. So we spent a lot closer time on the ball to Inter than the number of passes. They created a lot more passes than us because we were giving them the back 3, saying, you can have the back 3, you can do whatever you want, lads. You can have it, we'll put the wingers on you, and you can pretty much do whatever you like there. So, yeah, we let the back 3 have the ball quite a lot in this game. So, we're going to do exactly the same thing again. The difference is this time, we don't have any strikers for this. And Samu did score in the last game, but so did Hassan, actually. But this is going to be an interesting one. Okay, here we go then. We've been waiting for this. It is the Italian Cup final. Venezia Football and Water Roberto De Zerbi Recreation Series has come down to this. Italian Cup final, our second season, first season in Serie A. 14th of May, 2025. Here we go. Your team for the Italian Cup final is going to be Ernst in goal. Puskas, Papetti, Clemens, and Naumann across the back. Højlund, Muslija, pivots. Facundo and Asana are going to be the two forwards for us, I guess. Perini on the left, Borges on the right. Here we go. Cup final. Missing our two strikers and one of our best pivot players. But there we go. Assistant manager says to all players, go and win that trophy and show everyone what we're capable of. I love that. Love that comment from... Oh, they've changed formation. They've gone to a 3-5-2, and that is the one that we really struggled with last season, wasn't it? Oh, bollocks. I mean, we can go with this and say that either one of these two can pick up the pivot player. Wingers go on to the back three. That should work out okay. We're going to start off with this. We're going to see how they press our back line as well, because with two out-and-out strikers like that, I think they're actually going to struggle with us having two players high and wide, because they're going to press with two. Their centre mids aren't going to go that wide, and we're just going to get out to the fullbacks each time. So it might even be a case of that we're okay to go to the fullbacks early on. So I might even go with a bit of this early doors against them. But we'll see how it goes anyway. We'll go with this. The idea is that these two pick up their two CMs, two central field players. These two here pick up the wing backs. These two go on to the centre backs. And then between these two, one of them picks up the pivot player. The other one can just screen, maybe engage the defender a little bit if he starts to drive with the ball, that kind of stuff, right? Basically, if the ball's on the right-hand side, Facundo should ideally pick up the pivot player if he's towards the middle. If he goes right the way across, then Assan can do it. But either one of these two, one of you picks up the pivot player, that's all you got to do. Let's see how it goes. Come on, Venezia. Here we go, walking out for our first cup final. A big 5-3-2. Our first cup final with Venezia, of course, not the first one in the club's history. 5-3-2. It's going to be against our 4-2-3-1. Love that. Love the way it's telling the opposition that's what we're going to play, but we're not going to play that, are we? Because we've already changed it. So there we go. We are in our famous home, a lovely ship like we can see behind me. Venezia Football Water. Here we go. Okay, so they're going to their goalkeeper early doors. Let's see what happens here. Let's freeze it. Maybe here. So Borges has gone to the wing back. Okay, that's fine. He can go into that if he needs to. Not a problem. It means that the fullback's spare right now. That's our spare player for us, that possession. Is Assan on a pivot player? No, he's on a central field player. That's okay. But that then means for Kunda, you have to pick up the pivot. And just double checking who the actual pivot is here. It is Hakan. Hakan is the pivot player. So Facundo, we're hoping sticks on him here. And he does. He's dropped him a little bit. Don't let them get the ball to him, please. Facundo. Good. Facundo sticks on him now. Good. Fullback probably should have been closer. Oh, there we go. Won it off them. The trap worked early doors. Perini on the left-hand side. What's he doing? Across the far post. Oh, that's the only problem playing strikerless sometimes, right? In the match engine is that they get here. And I sort of feel like that they just look to cross sometimes a bit too often, winger to winger. And I'm not sure that's always the best way to go. Because of that, I'm going to cross it near post just to see if that prevents them going for those long back post crosses to the opposite winger. Naumann throws it into Borges, gets it back to Naumann. Højlund into Borges. Oh, it's calamitous. Assan gets it. Højlund builds up the attack. Naumann has it. Taking our time. We're taking our time. Højlund, no need to panic. Left centre back's open. He's underhit it. Papetti's absolutely nailed the striker. Get in there, Papetti. We'll have a bit of that. Gets in there on the Taro and says, have some of this, son. Naumann gets it on the right hand side. He's going to cut this back to anyway. He's got two players here. Oh, Naumann, we've got to release that. We've got to release that quicker, please. And they're going to counter us, potentially 2 versus 2. Yeah, I mean, are we susceptible to the counter there? I'm not sure, you know. They cross it far post. I feel like we need to use either a halfback or an inverted fullback to sort of maintain that 3 versus 2 shape against their strikers. It worked pretty well against Roma. We did lose a little bit going forwards, I can't lie. It did feel like we lost a little bit going forwards on the right-hand side, but we need to be... Oh, no, not a penalty! Oh, ref, come on. Of all the ways to concede in the cup final, a penalty... Oh, here we go. Here we go, penalty. Not happy with this. 1-0. I've changed Assan to be a pressing forward support and Facundo's got his number 10 in there. Just to mix it up a little bit. Just to sort of like give us that extra striker in the box for the crosses. In fact, I'll take off that crossing thing now. Off of these two. Clemens plays into Muslija. Got a bit of time. Plays into Borges on the right hand side. Goes wide. Goes around the player. Cuts inside. Loses it. So they're going to play it long. We should be able to win this though easily. Do we get to the second one? Oh, we don't even get to the first one. We do get... Oh, no. Wow. I mean... It worked, so we'll go with it. But after what happened in the last game, we don't really want to be seeing too much of that. Muslija gets it. Plays it across to Højlund. The left back is well open. Puskas got 2v1 if he wants to use it. Plays it early. No, drives inside. Okay, that's fine. Perini gets it. Plays it into Højlund. Højlund into Muslija. Takes a touch, goes through, he's got to shoot, does, goal! What a goal from Venezia, 1-1. Well done, Musliga, you legend, you club legend, 1-1. Yeah, beautiful work on the left-hand side by Puskás and Perini, creating that sort of space they had. Perini and Puskás had a 2v1, and the fullback, or wingback for them started to drop off. Musliga goes through, gets a good shot away, makes it 1-1. Come on. Okay, just watching their goalkeeper roll this out. Let's see what we do here. I'm not liking how far this guy is open, and they get it to him. Can we stick on him, please? I mean, he's got it twice there. Yeah, he's got on it twice. I don't like that. See, that makes me think that Musliga at the very least needs to go higher to really stick on him. I think we'll go with that. So what we've got here is if our fullback was to get higher and wide a bit earlier and get up here, you've got a 2 versus 1, maybe even a 3 versus 1 if he doesn't come and join the situation over here. Let's see what happens. So we've got a 3v2, goes inside. Now, we've got the overload. Borges gets it. That's what we want to see. Gets tackled, loses it. It's definitely not a penalty. They're going to come in with it. Can we counter-press them here? Bastoni plays into... You see how he's a little closer now to Fratesi? Musliga is. But see, Barella's a bit more open. I mean, Højlund, yeah, look, he's open again here. Can we stop him getting the ball? We can now, maybe. Or good marking by Facundo. That's a risky pass. We could have got to that. Centre-backs can have it all day. They can have it all day, whatever they want. Let's slide him over. Hassan, come in here, mate. Come in here and stop them going back to the centre-back. Then we can lock this in. They're going to try and get out. They're going to get to Lautaro. They get out. They've got little Baresi running a bit free. It's cut back to Fratesi. Goes through. Plays it across. I mean, unfortunate. I'm going to go, I think, more attacking on the fullback to try and get that overload. Okay, Facundo gets it. Plays it into... It goes to Højlund now. Into Musliga. He's got another chance. Oh, it's been blocked. Oh, it goes through. What? Referee? What the actual... referee... Can I introduce you to the concept of an advantage? You know how, like, rugby advantages carry on, then you bring it back? This is like the opposite of that. What is that? I hope we score from this, because if we don't, that is a disgrace. Look, what's even happened? What's he even given here? Watching something for here. Right, he's given... I mean, Fratesi's just going to put the business on little O, is this? Naumann here. To be fair, yeah, I was going to put the business on him, but, like, that's got nothing to do with the play. We were through on goal. I hope we scored from this. Musliga, do us justice. Do us justice, Musliga. Go on. Go on. We're getting done, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting done. Last game and now this game. Cross is blocked. They try and clear it. We're going to get to the second ball, though. Borges. Can we set up in this up right for half time? This could be the last highlight for Facundo. Back into Højlund. On a yellow. Right back is open. I mean, it got there in the end. Borges... Staying on it. It's not the most smooth of an attack, but it's 2v1 now this side. We're creating overloads. What can we do with it? Puskás, play it across goal. Penalty, referee. You better give this one. I swear to God, referee. If you don't give this, I am calling. Wow. I don't know what I'm going to be calling. Who I'm going to be calling. I'll be calling something. Penalty. 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 Penalty awarded. Who's going to take it? We all know what's going to happen. It's going to be a miss. We all know it's going to happen, but we got the penalty. The referee did give us the penalty. Perini in the final. Oh, and he scored, and it's 2-2. The two current legends of the club, Perini and Musliga, have scored to make it 2-2. Okay, I'm going to say we can win this still. I mean, it wasn't the smoothest way to get him the ball on the outside there, Naumann, but it worked in the end. See, what I'm thinking here is that you get that sort of overload on the right-hand side of the 10 coming across fullback and winger on either side. Maybe what we do is we go with 2 pivot players that actually hold more, so we can send both wingbacks high and wide early, and we're still better to defend the counter attack. Right, that's what I'm thinking. Sort of maybe this, so you sort of protect the back 2 against. So it's like 2v2 at the back, but then they also have 2 in front. Not sure. Okay, Facundo has it, plays it back to the goalkeeper. Please just pass it to someone in our team. Anybody. Naumann has it. Plays it into Facundo. He's playing in a central number 10 role now. He's got nobody else shoving him left anymore. He's just going to be going left and right. Oh, hit the microphone. As we play it wide to nobody, we're going to get this back, though. I hope we get this back. Papetti does get this back. We're not looking too smooth at times. There's nothing really on here. We have to go round, I think, from the goalkeeper to the right back. That's probably the safest thing to do if we can get there. Right back is where the space is. They've sort of tried to go after him, and they played Borges in. It's gone through to Hassan. We dragged the wing back out to our fullback. Hassan's still going. He's still going, bless him. He's trying it all himself. Cuts it back. Musliga hits the bar. I don't believe it. Okay, I'm going to take Musliga off. I'm going to put on Sensi. Okay, I'm going to take Facundo off, put Sensi as a pivot and move Musliga up. And I think that's the only change we've really got so far. Maybe Borges and Varela can make a change as well. Yeah, we could do that as well, I think. And Puskás is struggling, so I'm going to take Kill off and put Fredericks at the left back. That's our 3 changes for now. Okay, the 90 minutes is finished. And the XG is almost identical, 2.44 to 2.42. We've had more shots than them. Very similar to the last game. They had a few more XG. They've had a bit more XG than last time. I'm going to say go and win that trophy and show everybody we've got what it takes. And I think Costina's going to come on. I think Costina's going to have to come on here. And do we take off Clemens? Papetti's doing okay. I think we do a bit of this so we can get a fresh fullback on. They've got a deep free kick here. They play it into their centre backs. Hopefully we shouldn't be engaging them too much. Good. Borrelli gets it now. Right back, can you get onto the left wing back, please? He gets there late. And better late than never isn't going to apply here. Correa's got it. He's got a bit of space to cross it. It does. Lautaro scores 3-2 to them. Well, Fredericks is injured, so we can't bring on anybody else. So we're going to have to go with, I don't know, something like this. Let's go with that. Invert back on the left. Let's try a bit of that. Okay, highlight here. We have got all out attack. We've got 10 players on the pitch. We've got players everywhere up front. We're just trying to go for it now. Sensi into the youngster. Mengoli gets it. Looks to play it inside to Højlund. Oh, it's never going to get there, is it? Oh, we were so close this year. I don't believe how close we were. We're going to fall just short, aren't we? It's such a shame. Oh, they're going to go through. Are they going to score? Yeah, game over. I'll see at the end of the game. Going to be 4-2. They're going to beat us in extra time. Okay, finishes 6-2 to Inter after that. What an effort from the boys. What an effort to get to the cup final in our first season in the Serie A. But unfortunately, we lose 6-2. Couple of late goals. And we gave it everything that we had. We had just a few things go against us. The double injury at striker didn't help us. And yeah, again, against their 3-5-2, this time it was a 3-5-2. I still don't feel like that we played brilliantly there. I mean, numbers-wise, the best way to match up against that might have been to go like a shadow striker being the striker, then go to a 4-3-3 behind that. So you get one striker protects the back two versus two strikers. Then you've got your 2v2 in the middle. And then your striker drops onto the pivot player. And the wingers go on to the back three. I probably should have done that. I wanted to keep the two pivot players for in-possession purposes. But I think in reality, next time, I will just do that to match them up properly out of possession. And to get that one-player protection in front of the 2v2. And then probably what I would have done is changed maybe this player to an either inverted fullback or made him really attacking, depending on what the issue was. If we couldn't play out, he'd become an inverted fullback. If we were playing out, okay, he'd go high and wide to make the 2v1. So I feel like I've got a pretty good idea what to do against him next time. The only problem with the strikerless, like 4-3-3, is what it would become essentially, is in possession you get that sort of coast-to-coast, winger-to-winger attack too often in the match engine, I feel like. So we have to be careful of how we negotiate around that. But that was the situation anyway. We lost 6-2 in the cup final in the end. Really, I mean, it shouldn't have been 6-2. We were still going group of 10 then the whole way, right? And they scored a few extra goals right at the end. So there you are. Okay, I'll see you in a few days for the game against Sassuolo. And we're going to be playing for a place in the Champions League still currently. We're still in a good position just about. It's really close though. 3 points separate 6th to 2nd. Anything can happen. Don't forget, it comes down to head-to-head, not goal difference, so it depends on the results against either sides. So I'll see you in a few days for the game against Sassuolo. Right, okay, almost all of the teams, in fact, all the teams behind us that are in the top 4 race have all played, and we go into today's match day still in 2nd place before we've even kicked a ball. So if we can at least get a point here, that would help us out massively. Let's just double-check this, right? Let's go through the head-to-heads against all the sides chasing to see who we're actually ahead of on the head-to-head. So let's start with Juventus, because they've still got, well, not a game in hand on us, but a game in hand on everybody else. So Juventus, I'm pretty sure we're going to beat them on the head-to-head, right? Because we beat them. Yeah, they lost to us 2-1. Well, let's check it on our results so it makes it easier to follow. So we beat Juventus 2-1 at home. And we beat them 3-0 away. So we have the head-to-head over Juventus. Next up is Atalanta. So Atalanta, we lost 2-1 at home. And we lost 2-1 away. So Atalanta have the head-to-head over us. That's not good. Parthenope, we drew 1-1 away. And we beat them 1-0 at home. So we have the head-to-head over them as well. That's great. Inter in the league, we have a 0-0 draw at home. And a 2-1 win away. So we have the head-to-head over them. And then last but not least, Fiorentina. Our friend Fiorentina, we lost 3-1 at home. Oh dear. But won 5-2 away. So we beat them on the head-to-head as well. Just. So there you go. We just about beat Fiorentina in the head-to-head as well, which is why it's got us currently in 2nd place, still ahead of all those teams, which is interesting to see. In a pretty good position, so we don't need to worry about that really too much. We just need to make sure if we can win this game, we should pretty much have done it right. If we win here, we should be pretty much good. Anything else other than that is up for grabs going into the final day. So it's going to be chaos, by the way, because goal difference is easier to follow. But I guess most teams, we've got the better of them anyway. So anyway, going into today's game, Sassuolo, we have got the following team to potentially put us into the Champions League. Ernst in goal. Puzjaz, Papetti, Clement, Naumann across the back. Handel, Muslija pivots. Facundo is the 10. Perini left. Borges right. Asan down the middle again. Come on, Venezia. System manager says, media comments. Okay, they're going to apply a 4-2-3-1. So we're going to play our exact same 4-2-3-1 against them with the opposition instructions on. So what should happen is on the left side, their pivot player, on our left, their right. Facundo picks up the player. The player on the right should be picked up by the Muslija or Asan, depending on if Asan drops off or Muslija's pushing up a bit high. Hopefully it's Muslija most of the time, but it could be either of them. Okay, early highlight here. It's going to be a goal kick for them. They are lower table into that. Asan gets it, plays it across to Borges. He's going to have a drive at the fullback, goes wide, keeps going, cuts it across, goalkeeper collects it. Could be anybody's highlight right now. It could be anybody's. We should be in a good position to get the second ball here, though. The two pivot players look pretty good place, but Nauman's going to bring it down. Drives with it into Borges. Borges gets it, drives inside, loses the ball. This isn't good. Puzjaz, does he win it back? He does just. Goes with it, plays it across to Perini. Perini cuts inside. Plays it across to Asan. Might have been offside, but doesn't matter now. Perini gets it back. Cuts inside. Drives inside. Surely. Plays it through. Deflected shot. 1-0 to Venezia. Come on. Yeah, lovely bit of footwork here from Perini. Not here. Just an ambitious pass. But this bit here where he says, all right, I'm going to stand you up here. See you later. I'm going inside. Go on the outside. In we go. And little stab shot. Hits the defender. 1-0. Okay, we won it back with Perini. Perini playing out of his skin in today's match. Absolutely love it from Perini. Asan gets it. Oh, that's a disgusting foul. What? Referee, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? That's got to be a foul, referee. Are they going to score from this? I tell you what. We are getting done in this season right now. It's an absolute miracle we're in second place, and that is 1-1. We're going to change Naumann to an inverted fullback defend, just so that the reason is, on the moments where we are turning the ball over, he's a bit high and wide. He's getting countered inside his position. So going to try and get him just to hold his position slightly better. They're going to try and play out from this situation. It's a bit calamitous for them. Borges wins it, Muslija. Clemens gets it now, brings it down. Bit of time and space. Naumann fizzes it into Borges. He's got the inverted fullback. There he is in a 3-2 now sort of build-up shape. Handel has it. Plays across Papetti. Nice. Now the overload is on the left. Good. Look at this. Really good stuff from the boys. Perini probably should have tried that earlier, but it's okay. Oh, he goes anyway. Puzjaz gets it. What a bit of play this is. Puzjaz across deflected. Goes for a corner. I'm going to say keep going. We can win this. I'm also going to revert us back to that sort of 4-3-3 type of shape when we're playing against the 4-2-3-1. Okay, Fredericks wins the ball. Handel gets it, plays it hopefully across to Papetti. Does good. Bit of space in if you want to use it. Drives with it, goes into Muslija. Muslija takes some touches, goes wide. Looks for the winger now. Borges gets it. Borges surely should play it back into him. Does. Gets there. Brilliant football. Muslija goes through. Asan scores. 2-1. That was a really, really good move. Exactly where the player should have been. Brilliant football. Brilliant De Zerbi football. And that is 2-1. Let's watch this again. It all comes from the first fullback winning it. The sub, Fredericks, we just brought on the pitch, really, a couple of minutes ago. Borges gets it. There's the ball. The half space pass there. Love that. Muslija goes through. Great cut back here to Asan, who scores, makes it 2-1. They can play from the back here. They're going to play it across onto the keeper. The striker and the 10 are both sat screening pretty good. Don't engage them. Why are we engaging the goalkeeper? Like, we don't need to be doing this. Fredericks into Muslija. Quick counter. Right wingers on. Make the run. Muslija, make the run. You know it's got to go. Borges is going to go himself, though. Goes wide, plays it across. Defender gets there easily. And this could be dangerous. It's not going to be dangerous, though, because Costinha gets there first. Costinha into Handel. That's a risky pass, but it gets there. Handel plays across Facundo. What a ball that is. Shoots. Oh, that probably should have been another goal. Okay, they've got a highlight here. They're going to build their attack first. Hopefully we're in a good position to defend this. Can we get to that? Clemens, we do. Goalkeeper's on. Right centre back again is good. Right back is not open anymore. Travel with it. Go back if you need. Plays it through to Varela, who plays a really risky pass to Asan, but it works out. And then Hoyland's lost it. Oh, see, I feel like that they felt like that Asan was just in a favourite to win that quite easily, so they played a pass to him in the air because they thought he would win it. But it wasn't really the most sensible thing to do there. Now this is better. Asan with the ball at his feet, driving into space. This is good. Loses it. Perini gets it back. Plays across to Hoyland. Plays the first time pass in the defender. What a pass that is, by the way. Goes wide. Plays across. Surely he's got to play across. Is he shot? Oh, no. Perini. Yes. Come on. There it is. 3-1 to Venezia. That is surely game over. And that might be us definitely in European football. But maybe even the Champions League. 3-1. Watch this again. Yeah, I'm not really sure about the first decision here. What a ball that is, by the way. First time whip. Kevin De Bruyne pass. Varela goes wide. Plays it across. Or maybe it wasn't a shot. Maybe it was a pass. I don't know how it got there, but Mangoni gets his assist, his first assist for the club, senior level, and that is going to be 3-1. And in our final home game of the season, our final home game in our first season in the Serie A with Venezia, we beat Roberto De Zerbi's old team Sassuolo 3-1 in a brilliant performance. We they had their chances, then we tweaked the tactic, and we managed to regain control of the game, create chances, stopping them creating chances, and won the game. It was a really good tactical game from us, and we have mathematically qualified for the Europa League. There you go, play that music, and hopefully, though, in a few minutes' time, in real life, for us, we'll be doing this again, but playing the Champions League music. Hopefully, that's what we're going to be doing here in a second. So just to give you a little recap of the league table going into the final day, we are second, and we are currently 4 points clear of fifth. Cup final situation going on here, but I think we're okay for the Champions League as well, but we'll find out together in a second anyway. But we are, according to the game, we are mathematically qualified for the Europa League, but not the Champions League just yet. However, we're second in the league. It's actually lost on me how good we're doing. We're second in the league because the points total isn't really what you would expect from a second place team. Like, I think Tottenham in real life in the Champions League in England, in like, what was it, Villas-Boas' first season? Maybe second season. They finished on 70 plus points, finished fifth. We're not even going to get 70, and we're going to finish potentially second. So it is a bit of a weird league table. Like, we're a bit fortunate to be second, is basically what I'm saying. But we've still done a really good job to get ourselves in the top four. If we get second to fourth, I don't really care about the difference between that right now. It'd be nice to finish second. It'd be a great achievement to finish second. But I'm very aware that everybody's beating everybody quite easily, so I don't know. But I'll see you in a few days anyway. But I'll see you in a week's time for the game against Empoli when we could finish in the Champions League. Okay, welcome back. Now, the reason that we weren't getting confirmed for the Champions League was the following. Lazio played in the Europa League final, and they bloody won it. So congratulations to Lazio. Round of applause for them. Great for them. But that means that we need to make sure that we finish ourselves as strong as possible in the league. So we have Empoli last game. Empoli are in the relegation zone and they are already down. So you think that's a nice easy win, Jack, isn't it? It should be. Narrow diamond though. So I haven't played against that for quite a while. We'll see how we go. We've got a pretty full strength team except for the strikers. Coutinho's back now officially. So your team for the last game of the season in our first season in the Serie A, second season with Venezia, is the following. Ernst in goal. Puskas, Papetti, Clemens, Coutinho across the back. Handel, Muslija, pivots. Facundo 10, Perini, Borges wide. Asan up front. Assistant manager says, pick up what you left off. Okay. Narrow diamond. I think definitely I want this for a start. I want us to cover their number 10 with a pivot player. I want us to go 2v2 in the middle. And then it's a bit like the last game, really, but they've got 4, haven't they, at the back instead of the 3. So do I drop Facundo onto the CM? I mean, he should probably do okay with that. I think that should probably be fine. It would mean that Asan picks up the pivot player. We'll see if Asan does actually do that. It might even be easy to do that, actually. So that Asan goes as shadow strikers, picks up the pivot player. Facundo then should pick up the CM over here. And then Muslija should then pick up the other CM over here. That should work pretty good. And then you've got... I mean, the thing is, the fullback's going to be marking nobody. So really, you should push them up here, I think. But that seems a bit risky. We'll go with this as a start point. So there we go. First highlight of the game. Goes to Handel. Puskas the link up on the left-hand side. We're going to go across to the right. Muslija. Handel. Taking their time to build up, which is good. Papetti looks to try and focus it to the right back who's free. That's a spare man. We've got it to him. Coutinho goes through. Cuts inside. Plays it back to Clemens. I'm not sure we needed to really go back there, but we have. Coutinho goes inside again. Shifts on the outside. Whipping across potentially. Yeah, he's lost it. So, not great. Didn't have a lot on, did he? Muslija gets it. Maybe it's the strikerless aspect again coming into play there. Borges goes through, cuts it back to Puskas again. That was fortunate. I'm not going to lie to you, that was really fortunate. We'll take it though, 1-0. And it's kind of a situation where when you get that first goal and you're playing like this, you can afford to then just sit back and play as things currently are. But I feel like we would have struggled to break down a good team doing this. Just the way these attacks would go. That was just very, very lucky. We'll take it though, 1-0. As things stand, we are going to finish in second place. So all we need to do is try and keep the score the same. So let's look at their pressing against us here. Handel was, I guess, relatively safe to pass through there. Varela goes back to Papetti. I mean, we don't need to make the right back an inverted fullback defender, I don't think, because he's so free anyway. Like, he's already a pretty safe option. Here we go. Now, can we get the overload? Oh, we could have done, but we've not gone. Borges says, okay, boss. So I got you. I'll go myself and beat 2 players. Muslija. Right, let's just freeze it here. I mean, he's going to shoot. I'm not sure if we can maybe get the winger slightly further out and see if we can do something else with this, but he's gone to goal. It goes just over and wide. Juventus is currently drawing. Fiorentina currently drawing. And there's another injury. No. Naumann at centre-back who just wanted... By the way, Naumann just said he wants to go to a bigger club, incidentally, and he was already going to be transferred at the end of the season anyway, so, okay, fair enough, mate. You can leave if you want to. We were going to sell him anyway, weren't we? Because he wanted to leave the end of his contract, which is only another you're away. Handel is the lone pivot player, right? So he needs to get himself across and help screen this. He's not going to get there, is he? Okay, now that looks fine. That's a good shape to be in. They've got not much on here at all. That's a risky pass. Could we have won that? Could we have won it? We haven't, though. They're going to get a chance. Whipped it across the face of goal. Now, Papetti got to clear that easily, surely. Lads, there's somebody here right way. Come on, right way. There we go. Facundo gets it. Loads of space, loads of time. I'm not quite sure what that was, but we got there. Asan has it. The counter-attack continues. Far post. Winger's going to come in. He's going to come in the far post. Varela gets it. Plays it to Muslija. Muslija back to Handel. To Costinha. Costinha goes through, shoots, and he scores, and there it is. It's going to be 2-0 to Venezia. That could be us in the Champions League in our first season in the Serie A. What a performance. What a result from the season, and that is going to be 2-0. Brilliant stuff here from the boys. Costinha coming in, doing a great job to finish it off. Muslija says, all right, boss, I've got like a magic kick for you to keep this in play. Costinha gets a shot away, scores 2-0. We're into added time. 2 minutes left. 1 minute left. Venezia are in the Champions League. Play the music. There we go. Venezia Football and Water in the Roberto De Zerbi Recreation Series have got themselves into the Champions League in just 2 seasons. First season promotion to the Serie A. Second season, top 4 finish, second place finish, and into the Champions League. Absolutely incredible. I thought we might have a good chance of getting maybe the Europa League or the UEFA Conference League if we had a really good run. I never thought we'd finish second. I really didn't. And the main reason is, right, we'll say well done, boys, to the lads. I did not think that we would be able to have this sort of level of overachievement playing the way we were in terms of like matching up the formation, changing what we're doing, and doing all of that stuff. I thought that was going to really, I thought that was going to hinder us quite badly. I really did. And I thought that might make us, finish mid-table, low mid-table. I really didn't think it was going to help us at all, but we finished in second place. That is incredible. 69 points from 38 games, and just absolutely incredible to finish second in our first season. It is so good to see. 9 teams, incidentally, are in Europe next season because of the new formats and stuff, but wow, that is incredible. I'm so happy with that. I'm so proud of the boys for that. That is a really, really good first season in the Serie A for us. Top goal scorers on 81 as well. Conceded 51, but we won't care about that too much. 52, sorry, we conceded. It's still one of the better records in the league, though, which is quite funny. Yeah, I'm really impressed with that. So what we're going to do now, we'll go through all this at the end. Let's just go through the final bits of information from the game. So the under-18s got all the way to their final as well. We played to them, and they lost their final, which is good for them. Few injuries to end the season doesn't really matter. So we got into the Champions League, and our transfer budget is £1.65 million. So, well, it's not even that. I mean, that is just not good, is it? Wages are okay, I guess. It's going to be quite a similar team, I think, unless we can sell somebody for a bit of money. I mean, just looking at this, I mean, Facundo's worth quite a bit of money. Asan's not going anywhere. Facundo could leave potentially. Tresoldi could as well. But, like, there isn't that many players. I mean, Ongueni, I would potentially let go as well if we got a decent offer for him. There's a few players that we could let go, but it's not great, is it, for money? But there we are. What's the projections like now? Yeah, pretty good now. Much better projections now we're into the Champions League. So there you are. Venezia finish second in the Serie A. What a season from the boys. So bloody proud of them. I'm really, really happy with that. So what I think we'll do now is we'll go through some of the stats of the season, both team and player. We'll do a bit of review for that. Then we'll skip through a few days in the game till we get to the proper end of season review from the game itself, and we'll do a bit of that as well. So we'll go through that, and let's take a nice, peaceful, happy look at the wonderful season we've just had in Venice. Welcome back. I'm not sure if you just got the transition or if I played you a bit of Gareth Gates, any one of us. If you did, beautiful music video, isn't it? All in across Venice. It's just a perfect music video for the series because it incorporates Venice. But yeah, it does cost me monetization on the video whenever I use it. So there we are. Okay, so end of season 1 in the Serie A, season 2 overall. Second place. Again, a bit fortunate to finish second because of the amount of points like last season. Second place got 82, and that would have won the league this year. So it's a lot more spread out, I guess. But not amongst the teams at the bottom. Basically, a lot of the teams in the middle here, like 15th upwards, right? Those teams beat each other a lot more than last year. As you can see, the points are a lot more spread out. So yeah, that's where all the points came from. People just dropping points to each other, which was pretty good to see, I guess. Makes it a competitive season. Most goals in the season was Venezia, which is interesting. We'll go through that in a second here. So average possession, we finished 11th on 50. I think I'm in the way least here, so we'll go with this. Average possession, finished 11th on 50. Yeah, goals per game, we were top with 2.13. Expected goals over performance, we are actually really low. We are currently 18th, so if we would have been more clinical in front of goal, we would have done even better, which is really interesting. It shows that we're creating the chances. That is pretty good, actually, because it shows that we know we did a pretty good job tactically in stopping teams playing out and stopping them creating many chances in a lot of games. And it felt like there were in some matches, especially against the three at the backs, when it was like strikerless, I felt like that we weren't creating enough chances to win the game. But that probably isn't true, at least across the season. We could have done slightly better at taking our chances. Like if we had the same expected goals over performance as Roma, we would definitely have won the league, I think. So there you are. Well, there you go. XG4, 83 over the season. Non-penalty XG, which is more important one, 79.97 compared to the next nearest team on 67. So quite big, that is. And per 90, there you go. 2.10 is 1.77. Incredible stuff. Penalties taken, we had 4. Obviously, some of the bigger teams got your bigger penalties. Of course, they did. Our cross completion was the best in the league, which is quite interesting, that. Goals from corners, 17. Who's Inter Milan set piece coach? Oh, he's our former set piece coach. It's Alejandro Lopez. Look at him. Alejandro Lopez. Hello, mate. He's our former set piece coach, banging in the set pieces for Inter. This was something I was going to toy with. I was going to hand over the set pieces to a set piece coach, mainly for the fun of it, I think. Like to let the set piece coach, he'll get us some goals, he'll cost us some goals himself. I think that's the way we're going to go long term. To sort of utilize the new role within the game, right? You know, I feel like it's the right thing to do. So we are going to do that going forwards, but it's quite interesting that Alejandro Lopez got so many goals for them. I mean, I wonder if that would have won us the league on its own. Because how many did we get again? I mean, we scored 7's okay. Like 7's fine. It's not a disgrace, is it? 7's definitely okay. So you can't really see it there, 7. But yeah, that's interesting. So I think going next season, I'm a bit hesitant to change too much because we did so well. But that is something going forwards that I might look to do, is hand over the corners and all set pieces to the set piece coach. Yeah, like indirect free kicks didn't really score from that. Direct or indirect. Indirect, we've got 6 actually. We've got quite a few from those. High intensity sprints were second. We need to get higher on that. Need to get more sprints in. Final third passes, 4, 3, 8, 0, 8. That is pretty good. XG against 52. That's about what we conceded, though. So that's about right, I guess. Conceded from corners, we conceded 4, which is the joint 4th best record, but if we could have conceded 4 but scored a few more, or conceded 3 or 2 and conceded and then scored like 1 or 2 more, we'd probably be in a better shape. So I might hand this over to the set piece coach next season looking at this. Penalties concede 4. Yeah, that's one of the worst in the league. Not quite as bad as Hellas Verona with big 16, but there you are. Final third passes against. We were the second best team in the league for preventing final third passes against with 2-1-1-6 there. And OPPDA, we were the best in the league, which does make sense in some ways because we were really good at stopping teams playing out. That was our primary focus, right, was stopping them, building through pivots in particular, through their central players. Although we gifted them control of possession with their centre-backs, we didn't give them control of the game, did we? As soon as they played into dangerous areas, we were right on them. They could have the ball with the centre-back, but that was really it. So that's impressive that we're top of that, considering we did so many matches where we went to a strikerless kind of setup, or even if we had a striker, they dropped onto the pivot player, right? So we said to the centre-backs, you can have it. So, yeah, interesting that we managed to win that, actually. Quite impressed with that. Average attendance by capacity. Venezia top of the league there with 99%, which is great. Stadium sellouts, which is good. And then you've got net transfer spend. We are currently 13th on that list. And then salary, team salary. There we are, rock bottom on 15.88 million. Absolutely love that. To be the lowest spenders in the entire division and to finish second is incredible, right? That's the kind of like overachievement financially you look to achieve on a Moneyball save. But we managed to do it in this save, which is really, really good. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the team this year. We were really good, I thought. Okay, then, let's have a look at some player stats. Looking at our strikers first. We've got Samu and Tresoldi. They both played a similar amount of games, actually, both starts and sub appearances. Is the minutes close? It's not on this one. We'll find out in a second here. But anyway, goals 14 and 12, pretty close. Assists 1 and 5. Non-penalty XG per 90. So Samu gets into more dangerous areas and his minutes per goal is better. His XG of performance is better. Conversion ratio isn't quite as good. Shot on target ratio isn't quite as good. So Samu's able to score, I guess, more low percentage goals as well at times. So I think that's why his goals per game is better. and his extra performance is better as well. So I think Samu is definitely the better striker going forwards, and we'll look to use him going forward as our main striker, which was but it was good from both of them. Have got pretty good stats there. That's pretty good stats between the two of them. Dribbles per 90 is very similar. Open play key passes is per 90 is very similar. He's better in the air as well, though. Is Samu? Yeah, pretty good though from both of them. Not the most like. I mean, I guess 14 and 21 is okay. 12 and 23 doesn't look as impressive, but our strikers have got to do a lot more than just score goals. They've got to be able to do lots in the link up, and they've got to do lots out of possession in particular, which is where some of them might lose some of their goal scoring abilities. They've got to do so much out of possession, but pretty good from the strikers. If money wasn't an issue, I wouldn't even consider selling either of them because I like having both of them. But I think to try and generate some funds, it could be the fact that Tresoldi gets sold just to get some money in, really, because he's not homegrown, is he? He's Italian, but he's not homegrown, and we keep Samu going into next season. So that is your strikers anyway. Okay, here are your wingers. I've put Hassan in the wingers column because he played as a winger most of the season, right, as the inside forward on the left. So Hassan's going to be in this list here. So we're going to have dribbles per 90. It goes massively into Borges' favour there, with Varela being second, and then Perini being a distant third. Hassan's got quite a bit less, but Hassan did play a fair few games both at number 10, some at actual pivot, and then some at striker as well. So his are going to be like disjointed a little bit, his stats from everybody else. And yeah, I mean, cross completion, pretty similar across the board. Again, Hassan stands out because he's played in different positions a little bit. Open play key passes per 90, so 1.91, 1.92, very, very close between our two main wingers there. Varela 1.84, pretty good. Chances created per 90, Perini with 1.16. Progressive passes, 2.91. He's really good, isn't he, Perini? Really, really good player. In fact, they all are, really. The fact that Varela was our, like, backup winger is incredible, because I think he's still a pretty good player. Well, he played really well anyway, regardless of what he says on his attributes, of course. And conversion ratios are pretty good. I'm actually quite happy with the wingers. They were really good this year, and they really did well, performed above their duties at times. Perini's a really good player. I love Perini. I don't know how long he's going to be good for, but he's been really, really good when we've asked him to be. It's a shame that him and Muslija's goals in the final didn't result in the trophy, but they did their best. But pretty good season that from the wingers. Dribbles per 90 is pretty good. I think that if we were to get a second winger like Borges for like dribbles per 90, once we get a winger, if we can get a winger that's as clinical as Perini, plays as well in big matches, but can dribble slightly more at the defenders, that's when we're going to be like in a title challenge position, I think. So yeah, something to watch out for going into next season. So number 10 is difficult because really it was Facundo or Muslija playing as a 10 most of the season, but Muslija played most of the season as a pivot though. When Facundo, they didn't replace. The thing is, they didn't replace each other in their position. Like Muslija would have played pivot or as a 10, so it's a bit misleading this one. But Facundo as a 10, you can see here 13 goals, pretty impressive. Assists per 90, 0.23. Expected assists was 0.24. Did a pretty good job there. Open play key passes is pretty good. Progressive passes is okay. Muslija's is really good for a pivot player like that. And the passes completed per 90, 47.24. For a midfielder, to create that many passes per 90, but also get progressive passes in. It's not like they're all sideways and safe passes. That's quite a few progressive passes per 92. And he can finish. I love Muslija. I've got no interest in selling him. Like, the amount of money I would get for him, I couldn't replace him with a player that I can guarantee is going to play like him. Like, if I was to buy a player that I could guarantee could give me the same stuff that he's giving me, I'm looking at an 8 to 10 million pound player. So I love Muslija. Florent, you're going nowhere, son. Pack your bags to go on holiday and make sure they come in straight back on the plane after you're done. You're going nowhere. Brilliant player. I put Muslija in this one as well, so he's played in both. I've included Muslija in this one too, so he's in both the pivots and the number 10s. Open play key passes per 90 massively goes towards Højlund. He's quite a creative player actually, isn't he, Højlund, for a player that plays in the pivot position. Did a really good job. Handel was like a bit of a balance in the middle. He got actually quite a few passes completed per 90. Looking at, all three of them have got pretty good progressive passes per 90. Højlund's is a bit misleading because so many of his appearances were off the bench and at times in the game where we were chasing the game and stuff. So I think his is slightly off a little bit. That's why it's so high. But as a collective group, because one of them is always going to be playing as the pivot, the other one, because one of them is always going to be playing as the more advanced pivot, one of them more defensive. You're looking at them less individually, more collectively as a group of 2 or 3. And as a 3, progressive passes per 90 is really good. Pass completion is really good. And passes completed per 90 is really good. Dribbles per 90, Muslija 2.24 from mainly playing as a pivot player is... I don't think I've ever seen it that high before for a pivot. Obviously, he has played as a 10 and played wide as well at different points of the season, but mostly as a pivot player. Tackle win ratio, pretty good. I mean, handles was 63, not as good as the others, but still okay. Header one ratio, 9% from Maslegia. Not great, is it? But, you know, as a collective group, if you average out between the three, it's okay. But Maslegia's isn't the best there. But that's not his job, is it? He's got other stuff to do, bless him. Moving on to fullbacks then, Puzjaz has the following 12 assists across the season. That is incredible. To get 12 assists from left back is brilliant. Dribbles per night is pretty close between him and Costinha. Cross completion is very, very similar. Open play key passes goes massively to Puzjaz. He's been so good this year. He's been even more productive going forwards than I thought he might be in our tactic. I've been really, really proud with him playing in there. Tackle win ratio is quite similar across the two. Head on ratio is very similar. Like, those two players, I think that they are not the problem in this team going to the next level. They are ready to be part of the team to move to the next level. And that's not to say we don't buy a fullback, because we could do, right? There could be somebody available. If I was to get 7 million for Costinha and I saw a right back available that was similar to him, I would potentially pull the trigger on that, just to, like, while we've got the transfer budget quite low at the club, every time I can sell a player for like 7 up front and replace him with somebody who is like being paid for with 2 million up front, we can afford to do that right now, because we're not going to be putting the club into debt because of the amount of money that's coming in from the Champions League next year. So we're actually in a pretty good position this year to sell players up front and buy their replacements in installments, and it won't put us in too much of a negative situation because of the amount of money that's going to come in next year. We're using just this year's money. The club haven't given us the budget for this year's money, but we can make it work this year if we sell enough players to do so, of course. So yeah, that is going to be your fullbacks pretty much. It's only really the three we use most season. Naumann did play fullback quite a bit this season as well, but I'm going to put him in the centre-back stats for here in a second. So last but not least then, centre-back. This is an interesting one. So you've got Pepetti with 44 appearances, didn't get injured the entire season, was brilliant. Clemens, 22 starts. Naumann, 28, but some of those were right back, quite a few actually. And then on Gwenny was 16 starts there as well. So tackle one ratio goes massively towards Clemens. Clemens, by the way, I thought was incredible, and he's improving quite a bit. Look at him. He's going to be really good. What's his release clause? So he's got a £14 million release clause for teams in the Champions League. But we're in the Champions League, so it doesn't count. Get in there. We love a bit of that. So if somebody wants Clemens, they're going to have to spend quite a bit of money. He looks like he's going to be world class. Like, he's really good. Really good. Is he going to become homegrown for us? He'll never become homegrown for us. Right, okay. I mean, I think selling him for £14 million this season would be a poor decision, because I feel like that either we should keep him or wait another year so he gets up to about 30 million, something like that. But he looks really, really good. We'll see what offers we get, but like, I don't really want to sell him. I think he's a really good player. Naumann is going to leave for about £3 million, I would suspect, but that's going to be 13 grand a week off the wage bill with the player whose contract's at the end of the season anyway. Ongwene was a pretty good backup player, but I might cash in on him too. Nearly 20 grand a week. It's quite a bit of money, isn't it? So, I mean, if we could get 4 million for him up front, 20 grand a week off the wage bill, that seems like a pretty good bit of business for us. And then last but not least, Andrea Pepetti, top of the list. He's got 2 years left on his contract, still on a pretty low wage. Homegrown Italian, what we want to see. The attack win ratio definitely went mostly to Clemens. Clemens basically wins on every single metric defensively that we have, including header win ratio. So Clemens is the one. Pepetti's definitely number 2, and 3 and 4 are whichever you'd like it to be. Really happy with the centre-backs this year. Thought they were fantastic. Clemens in particular has really impressed me. £7 million he cost us, and he has been worth every single penny. And I think if we sold him next season, if we sold him this summer, I think we'd get something like 19-20 for him. And I think if we wait another year, it could be like 29-30 plus. If he makes the same leap, it'll definitely be that. If he makes the same leap in terms of progression and his attributes and stuff, right? That is your player view based on win percentage. There you go. Of all players that have played quite a few matches, it shows that Thomas Handel, with a 71% win percentage of somebody who started 21 games, that is really impressive. That's really high, actually, because the next nearest player with a similar amount of games is Asan and Pascal Clemens on 64. So it shows just how important having 2 good pivot players was this year, because as soon as Thomas was out, like the cup final, we struggled, I think, a little bit. So it's really important to have 2 really good pivot players, which is something we can look at for squad building going into the next episode, which we'll talk about that. But okay, I'll see you in a second then for the in-game end-of-season review. Okay, I'm going to probably show you some inbox items as we go before we get to it, because there's going to be quite a few, I suspect. Venezia's final league position of 2nd in the Serie A represents a new record high for the club. Their previous best finish in the Serie A was 11th place in the 98-99 season. Look at that. History was made this season, ladies and gentlemen, and we got ourselves a 2nd place finish and Champions League football, of course. So looking good. Here we go then. Venezia Football Club end of season review, the new arrivals. So they're giving us an A, or sorry, B plus for Lino Casano back at keeper. Puszczas was a B plus. Okay. A plus for Borges, definitely. He was incredible, wasn't he? I was really proud of that signing. For like that he was the exact type of winger that we needed. And that was that deadline day. It was close, wasn't it, to that? Asan C plus. Costinha was an A. Pascal Clemens was a B. I think that's just because of the money, but they should see that he's already worth like 50 odd million. Oh, come on, board. What are we doing here? Samu B minus, that should go higher though next season when he's a permanent player. Tresoldi was a B minus, Oscar Hoyland B minus, Varela B minus. C for Handor. Are we taking the piss here? 500 grand? B plus for Sensi. Okay, I mean they're not unhappy with anybody, are they? So there is that. This season's results, yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Big second place finish. Really proud of the team. Absolutely incredible stuff. So happy with that. What a season. Finished runner-up in the Italian Cup in the final. Bloody extra time against Inter as well. Like, unbelievable. If we wouldn't have had, I think, having both strikers out, then having your starting pivot out just cost us, didn't it? It was a step too far for us this season. But that's okay. It gives us room to improve going into next season. A lot of people would suggest that we shouldn't have been there anyway, so it is what it is. Normally, I would get quite annoyed at a cup final loss, but it was hard to... It's impossible, I think, to get upset when your team has done that well. So we move on. Moments to remember, 3-2 wins, which is the game that really confirmed the Champions League for us, wasn't it? 2-1 win in the goal of the season with Muslija, and biggest one was a 5-0 win away to Cremonese. Finances, so let's have a look at this. We doubled our sponsorship. Broadcast revenue's gone from 1.23 million to 24 million because of the promotion, of course. Hospitality's basically doubled. Prize money's gone from 2.15 to 17.17, and match day's gone up 2, which is all great to see. No reputation change, considering we finished second, got to the cup final, and we're in the Champions League. What are we doing here? Whatever, we'll move on. Merchandise sales was good. Muslija's the most sold shirt with Facundo, Sensi, Asant, and Tresoldi as the others. How we lined up, was that the first team pretty much? I mean, Costina probably should replace Nauman in that, but it's okay. It's pretty close, isn't it? If it's pretty close, that's all we can ask for. Looks pretty good there. The accolades. So this is the big one, isn't it? See what we got. Fans Player of the Season was Nicolas Pirini. Young Player of the Season was Facundo. Signing of the Season was Asan. Goal of the Season, Muslija. Top goal scorer was Samu. Most Player of the Match awards was Puszczas. Highest average rating was Puszczas. Couple of records here. Most clean sheets in a season was Ernst. Highest transfer fee received was 15 million for Ellison. How did Ellison get on, actually, incidentally? Let's have a look. Played pretty well, actually, for his new club. He's currently worth a lot of money. Too much for us. Not really improved an awful lot since he's left us, but he's done really well, like at his new club, so good for him. History of the making. Once Venezia got rolling in the latter portion of the season, it looked hard to stop them. It bloody did. And the last thing is, Venezia came along better than anyone would have expected. Led a late charge all the way to a successful ending. We did. Manager timeline, bit of developing talent, and Venezia won right at the death of the Serie A tussle with Lazio. Dramatic 96th minute goal to seal the game 4-3. To be fair, that was the last big game that we had that probably did help really cement our European finish. We knew we were going to finish in Europe after that game. We didn't know exactly which competition we'd be in. And there you are. End of season review is complete. There is your best ever Venezia 11. You've got some players. I mean, we won't look at this too much now because it's really like 4 or 5 seasons in where you get to see some of the players from the original teams and some of the more recent players together. But there it is if you're interested in seeing what it is. Supporter profile, we've got another 250,000 plus followers on social media. Hardcore goes down, Fairweather goes up. Discuss plans for next season. We'll say nothing for now. Thank you, lads. Enjoy your holiday. Right. Big news in the series. Board plans to build a new stadium. It's going to be in Venice. That's a good start. They cancelled plans to expand the current stadium, but they're going to build a brand new one. So they're going to build a new one. We don't know what it's going to be called yet. That is going to be interesting to watch out for as well. So we will talk about that next time when that happens. But that is a big step in the new direction. We do need that. And that is going to be something really good for us. Hopefully it's in a good location. It's in Venice. That's a good start, I guess. Not moving the club out of the city. So that is a good start. But yeah, the current one has a pretty good location. We'll not just knock it down and, rebuild it a little bit or build it next to it. I don't know. Something like that. But anyway, that's going to do it. That's going to do the episode. We'll go through the squad, what we think, trying to sell some players. We'll do all the transfer window stuff in the next episode, and we'll go through some other stuff as well. But yeah, for me, honestly, a massive thank you to every single one of you that's been supporting the series. Yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate I had all this analysis done for De Zerbi, and unfortunately, I just, from a few things out of my control a little bit, I couldn't really release it the way that it was. So, yeah, I appreciate all the support on the series, and it might be difficult for me to keep doing Roberto De Zerbi analysis the way that I have been doing for a little while. So the plan is that we'll start the next season, and we will start to we'll keep looking to match up our stuff against teams out of possession. Maybe we'll start to tweak a little more rather than having to drop the striker. I want to avoid, if I can, dropping the striker into the AM strata. I want to keep him as a striker. So in those matches where we're getting him to drop onto a DM, I want to find the best solution to making him do that out of possession, but still attack like a striker like we normally do. I want to see that a bit more. So that's our personal challenge for next season. Out of possession, our target is in those matches where we drop the striker onto the pivot, can we keep him in the striker position and find a combination of role and duty that works better for us and it doesn't change completely how we're trying to attack if possible? The other thing is, we'll start to look at the first 10 minutes of matches and we'll see how teams are pressing us and how we're going to get past it. So if in some matches we're struggling to create chances, are we struggling to create chances because the fullbacks are decently marked, so we need to try and build through the centre? Is it that the DMs are not getting on the ball at all, so we need to either maybe introduce a slight change in the tweaks to the formation? Do we need to tweak the role to a half-back to the deep middle playmaker? Do we need to make them both be somewhat more aggressive in their roles and then have maybe an inverted fullback come in? Do we need to start utilising an inverted wingback to get us into that pivot position? There's so many things we can do going forwards. I'm so excited about it and come up with all these different ways. And what I might do in particular is look at how Brighton built their attacks against Sheffield United in real life, because that was a 3 at the back game quite recently. Now, they did play like a 5-4-1, which we don't come up against too often, but we can maybe take some of the core principles of like using one fullback to be an inverted fullback defend type role and the other one staying very high and wide, but then the winger on that side being very narrow. Do we start to mess around with a bit of that? Because what that would mean is you could recreate that in FM, but it would mean that the winger on that side, on the right side, as it is in the Sheffield United game, they would need to make sure they don't have anybody in the AM strata on their side, so they can fully go narrow and really occupy that number 10 position. And then what you would get in game is you would get that winger going inside and attracting the attention of the back three. The striker would attract the attention of the back three, and then the other AM would attract the attention of the back three. So you might start to get overloads where if you can get the fullback who's high and wide, if you can get him like in behind, he could be free if the wingback doesn't go back with him. And if he does go back with him, there's going to be an absolute acre of space. So that's where you could start to maybe utilize. Do you play the pivot that side in the CM strata and play him as a Carrilero? Something to really just hold that wide space because we're going to get you the ball. There's so many things we can do with it against those 3 at the backs. And yeah, I'm excited anyway. There's a lot of stuff for us to do. This series has been amazing. I've really appreciated all the support in the series. I don't care about the overall views. The people that are watching this series and that are commenting and let me know what they think, I just thank you so much. It's been incredible to go through. Do you expect videos to come out more quickly going forwards? I've obviously recently moved. It's been a bit of time to get everything set up. I've had a lot of stuff to do here as well. Everything's pretty much set up with the one caveat. I am going home for my birthday in a couple of weeks and then it's Christmas. So I guess that it will still be a bit erratic, I guess. But apart from the week where I'll be home for Christmas, each side of that, things should start coming along a lot more frequently now. I've got myself set up. Everything's looking good. So this video has been recording on the Friday night. This video is being recorded on the Friday night. You'll get this video out tomorrow on the Saturday. And my plan is this weekend to record a lot of the videos so that we can get ourselves set up, ready to go into next week. So I can just edit and upload, which will be a lot quicker for everybody. That is going to do it. Venezia Football Club, Football and Water, we are into the Champions League in our first season in the Serie A, second season overall. The Roberto De Zerbi recreation has gone brilliantly. It's been magical. It's been beautiful, like Venice is. That is going to do us. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all, of course, next time.